The thick manila envelope felt like a bomb in my hands. Official court letterhead peeked through the window, addressed to Ms. Cynthia Steele. My fingers trembled as I tore it open, scattering paper fragments across my kitchen counter. "Ma'am Cynthia," and this is how I discovered my own family was trying to have me committed to a mental institution. "Notice of emergency guardianship petition." The words blurred as I scanned the document. "Concerns regarding mental stability, immediate psychiatric evaluation, temporary power of attorney." My phone buzzed. Nina, my roommate, texting to check if I was okay. I'd been standing frozen for 20 minutes. "They're really doing it," I typed back. "The thing I was worried about, it's happening." 3 dots appeared immediately. "I'm coming home early. Don't call them. Don't do anything." But I was already dialing Lexi's number. My sister picked up on the 3rd ring, her voice crisp and professional as always. "Now isn't a good time, Cynthia." "Not a good time." My laugh sounded hollow. "You filed to have me institutionalized and it's not a good time?" A pause. Papers shuffling in the background. "This is for your own good. We're worried about you." "Worried? You haven't spoken to me since Grandma's funeral 4 months ago. Your behavior at the funeral was exactly the kind of thing we're concerned about," Lexi said, crying hysterically, making accusation. "I was grieving. She raised me while you were all too busy for family." "This is exactly what I mean. You're getting emotional again." Her voice took on that patronizing tone she'd perfected since law school. "Don't fight this, Cynthia. You'll only make it worse for yourself." The line went dead. I stared at my phone, hands shaking with rage now instead of fear. 4 missed calls from Mom already, 2 from Dad, a text from Mom. "We're doing this because we love you." I walked to my bedroom and pulled out the old hat box from under my bed. Inside were dozens of USB drives, labeled by date, recordings, screenshots, emails. Everything I'd been collecting since Grandma first got sick. Everyone thought I was paranoid for documenting everything. Turns out I wasn't paranoid enough. Nina burst through the front door 20 minutes later, still in her scrubs from the hospital. "Show me everything," she demanded. I spread the court papers across our coffee table. Nina's eyes widened as she read. "They're claiming you had a mental break after your grandmother died? That you're delusional about the inheritance?" She looked up. "But you have proof, right? The recordings?" I nodded, pulling out my phone and playing one from 2 months ago. Dad's voice crystal clear. "Once we get control of her finances, we can redirect the inheritance where it belongs. The girl's too unstable to manage that kind of money anyway." "Your own father," Nina whispered. That's evil." "They've always been like this," I said quietly. "Grandma was the only one who saw it. She warned me they'd try something after she died. I just didn't think they'd go this far." My phone buzzed again. A text from David, Dad's business partner. "Just heard what they're doing. This isn't right. Call me. Secure line only." I showed Nina the message. "Think I can trust him?" "Trust no one," she said firmly, "but use everyone. You need allies right now?" I nodded, my mind already racing ahead. They thought I was the weak one, the unstable one, the easy target. They had no idea how much evidence I'd gathered, how many contingency plans I'd made. "Nina," I said slowly, "I need your help. We're going to war." She squeezed my hand. "What's the plan?" I pulled out my laptop, opening folders of carefully organized files. "First, we need to make copies of everything. Then I'm calling Dr. Allen. He's the best psychiatric evaluator in the state. If they want to claim I'm unstable, let's get an expert opinion on record." And then I thought about Lexi's threat. "Don't fight this. You'll only make it worse for yourself." "And then," I said, "I'm going to make it much, much worse for them." Another text came through from Mom. Please don't make this difficult, sweetie. Just cooperate and everything will be fine. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my recording app and hit start. From now on, every interaction would be documented. Every lie would be exposed. Every manipulative move would be caught and countered. They thought they were taking me down. Instead, they were giving me everything I needed to destroy them. Your mother's talking to Mrs. Peterson right now, Nina whispered, adjusting her earbuds. She was stationed at the coffee shop across from my childhood home, pretending to work on her laptop while actually monitoring the directional microphone we'd set up. The audio's crystal clear. I listened through my own earbuds as I sat in my parked car 2 blocks away. Mom's voice came through sharp and practiced. We're just so worried about Cynthia, she was saying. The things she's been saying about the family, her paranoid accusations. Would you be willing to sign a statement about what you witnessed last Christmas? Mrs. Peterson, our longtime neighbor, sounded hesitant. I don't remember anything concerning Tricia. She seemed fine to me. Remember how she stormed out during dinner? How she was ranting about being watched? That's not how I remember it. She left quietly after Ross started yelling about, Please, Margaret. Mom's voice took on that silk smooth manipulation I knew too well. We need to get her help before she hurts herself. Think of how you'd feel if something happened and you could have helped prevent it. I clicked to stop on the recording, another piece of evidence showing their coordinated effort to fabricate witnesses. My phone buzzed, David requesting a video call. I made sure I was well hidden behind tinted windows before accepting. Cynthia? His face appeared, lined with concern. I'm in my secure office. Are you somewhere private? I nodded. Your father called an emergency board meeting this morning. He's trying to force through some unusual financial transfers, moving company assets around. I think he's preparing for legal expenses. Can you record the next meeting? Already did this one. He held up a small device. I've been recording everything since your grandmother told me her suspicions last year. That was news. You talked to Grandma about this? She knew they'd come after you, made me promise to keep an eye out. He paused. There's more. Your sister Lexi has been meeting with some of the board members privately, offering legal services at suspicious discounts. Building allies, I muttered. Of course she is. Nina's voice crackled in my other earbud. Your mom's leaving Mrs. Peterson's. And, holy shit! What? She's crying, like actually crying. But the second she got in her car, she just stopped, checked her makeup in the mirror, and started making calls. I switched back to David. I need copies of everything you have, but we have to be careful. They're watching my communications. Use this. He held up a burner phone. I'll have my assistant drop it in your mailbox, encrypted, untraceable. After we disconnected, I drove to Dr. Allen's office for my scheduled evaluation. The receptionist led me straight back. No waiting room, no witnesses. Just as we'd arranged. Dr. Allen sat behind his desk, stern and professional. Before we begin, I need to be clear. I'm not on anyone's side. If I find genuine concerns about your mental state, I will report them. That's exactly why I chose you, I said. Your reputation for honesty is what I need. The evaluation took 3 hours. Cognitive tests, emotional assessments, detailed history. I answered everything truthfully, including the parts that didn't paint me in the best light. No point hiding my actual therapy history or the anxiety medications I'd taken in college. When we finished, he sat back studying me. You understand this is an unusual situation. Because I'm preemptively getting evaluated before they can force their own evaluation? Because you're remarkably clear-headed for someone under this kind of stress? He made a final note. Most people facing what you're facing would be showing severe anxiety, paranoid tendencies, or at least emotional instability. You're displaying none of those. What am I displaying? Strategic thinking, appropriate caution, and, he allowed himself a small smile, what appears to be extremely justified anger. My phone buzzed. Nina again. Your dad just showed up at Mrs. Peterson's. He looks pissed. Through my earbud, I heard the muffled sound of angry voices. Then Mrs. Peterson's door slammed. He's storming back to his car, Nina reported, and want me to follow? No, stay put. Mrs. Peterson might need a friendly ear right about now. Dr. Allen watched me managing these surveillance operations from his office, gathering evidence. Every second of every day, he nodded slowly. I'll have my official evaluation ready in 48 hours. But Cynthia? He leaned forward. Whatever you're planning, be careful. People who would go to these lengths, they're dangerous when cornered. I thought of Lexi's threat again. Don't fight this. I know, I said, standing to leave. That's exactly what I'm counting on. The memory hit me as I sorted through Grandma's old papers, her sitting in her favorite armchair wrapped in the quilt I'd made her, while Lexi's voice crackled through the speakerphone. Sorry, Grandma, Paris was just too good an opportunity to pass up. The firm's paying for everything. It's your third vacation this year, Grandma had said quietly, her hand trembling as she reached for her water. I steadied the glass for her. Cynthia's been here every day. Well, some of us have real careers to manage, Lexi had snapped. Not everyone can afford to waste time finger painting with children. I'd seen the hurt flash across Grandma's face. My art students aren't a waste of time, I'd said, but Lexi had already hung up. Now, sitting cross-legged on my apartment floor, surrounded by boxes, I found the letter. Dated just 2 weeks before Grandma died, written in her shaky handwriting. My dearest Cynthia. They think I don't see what they're planning. Ross asking about investment accounts. Tricia helping with my medications. Lexi bringing legal documents she insists need signing right away. But I see everything, just like I've always seen how they treat you. You gave up that fellowship in Paris to take care of me. They'll tell you it was foolish throwing away an opportunity. They're wrong. You chose love over ambition, kindness over greed. You are the only one who inherited what matters, not money, but humanity. They'll come for what isn't theirs. Be ready. All my love, Grandma. My phone buzzed, Nina texting that she'd found something. I wiped my eyes and drove to our meeting spot, a 24-hour diner where we'd be seen but not overheard. Look at this, she said, sliding her laptop across the table. Security footage from Grandma's nursing home, dated 3 days before she died. Lexi entering with a stack of papers, leaving 40 minutes later, looking pleased. The staff said she visited alone that day, I said, but Grandma never signed anything without her lawyer present. Keep watching. The timestamp jumped ahead 2 hours. Dad arriving carrying suspiciously similar papers. They didn't know about each other's visits, Nina said. They were both trying to get her to sign different documents. But which ones did she actually sign? That's the thing. Nina pulled up another file. According to the nurse's log, Grandma was on heavy pain medication both times. Legally, she couldn't have signed anything. My hands clenched around my coffee cup. They forged her signature. Looks like it, but we need proof. The diner's bell chimed. I glanced up to see Lyle, my ex, walking in. He froze when he saw me. Cynthia, he said awkwardly, I heard about what's happening. Let me guess. Lexi told you? He shifted uncomfortably. She's worried about you. We all are. Really? I pulled out my phone, played the recording of Dad discussing their plans. Lyle's face fell as he listened. Jesus, he whispered. I didn't know. Now you do. I stood up. So decide whose side you're really on. Back home, I found another box of Grandma's things. Photos spilled out. Me helping her garden, painting together, reading by her bedside. Not a single photo included the rest of the family. The last photo was from the day I told her about declining the Paris fellowship. She'd been so angry at first. You can't give up your dreams for me, she'd insisted. You're more important than Paris, I'd said. She'd studied me for a long moment. You know they'll never understand that choice. I don't need them to understand. I just need to be able to live with myself. Now, staring at the photo, I remembered her next words. Then you're already richer than they'll ever be. My phone rang, an unknown number. I answered cautiously. Cynthia? A familiar voice. It's Faith McGregor, your grandmother's attorney. We need to talk. About what? About the fact that your sister submitted falsified documents to the court this morning, and about the fact that your grandmother left me very specific instructions for this exact situation. My heart raced. What kind of instructions? The kind that can destroy their entire case and them along with it. But first, I need to know, how far are you willing to go? I looked at the photo again, thought of all the times they'd called me weak, unstable, a disappointment. Thought of Grandma's warning, they'll come for what isn't theirs. All the way, I said. I'm willing to go all the way. Good, Faith replied, because I just received notice. The hearing is in 2 weeks. Miss Cynthia is displaying increasingly erratic behavior, Rachel's statement read. During our art gallery opening last spring, she became paranoid, claiming her family was sabotaging her career. I set down the affidavit, my hands shaking. Rachel had been my friend since college. We'd shared studio space for 3 years. How much did Lexi pay you? I texted her. The response came quickly. I'm sorry. They said this would help get you the treatment you need. My phone buzzed again. Another affidavit filing notification. This time from Marcus, my former teaching colleague. His statement painted me as unstable, prone to emotional outbursts during faculty meetings. Nina looked up from her laptop. That's 5 former friends who filed statements against you in the last 24 hours. 6, I corrected, checking my email. Amanda just submitted one, too. Your sister's been busy. She's trying to isolate me, make it look like everyone close to me sees these problems they're inventing. The burner phone David gave me chirped, a message with an attached audio file, a recording from his office. Lexi's voice. Look, just sign the statement. We can make that zoning issue for your new gallery disappear. Rachel's response. I don't know. Cynthia's been nothing but good to me. She's sick. She needs help. You be doing her a favor. I clicked to stop, feeling sick. Nina squeezed my shoulder. We should release these recordings, she said. Show everyone how they're bribing people. Not yet, I replied. We need them overconfident. A knock at the door made us both jump. Through the peephole, I saw Lyle standing there, looking nervous. What do you want? I called through the door. To help, he said. I know what Lexi did. She tried to bribe me too. I opened the door but kept the chain on. Prove it. He held up his phone, played a recording. Lexi's voice again, offering to help with his business loans in exchange for a statement about my concerning behavior during our relationship. Why didn't you take the deal? I asked. Because I remembered something. That night your grandmother got rushed to the hospital. You were the only one who showed up. Your whole family was too busy, but you sat there all night holding her hand. He met my eyes. That's not crazy. That's human. I let him in. He laid out everything, how Lexi had systematically approached people from my past, offering favors or threatening consequences, how she'd coached them on what to say, provided pre-written statements. She's building a wall of witnesses, he said, making it look like everyone in your life sees these red flags. Everyone except the people who matter. Nina countered, pulling up Dr. Allen's preliminary report on her screen. Look what came in. The report was clear. No signs of mental illness, paranoia, or instability. Instead, Dr. Allen noted remarkable psychological resilience in the face of sustained familial emotional abuse. My regular phone chimed. A text from Mom. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. Just come home. We can help you. Then Dad, you're embarrassing the family. Think about what this is doing to your sister's reputation. They're scrambling, Lyle observed. Getting sloppy. Nina nodded. They expected you to crack under pressure. Instead, I'm documenting everything. I pulled out my evidence files. Every threat, every bribe, every manipulation. They still have all those witness statements, Lyle warned. Let them have them. I smiled grimly. Because I have something better. My burner phone chirped again. Faith had sent what we needed. A blurry photo of Grandma's will, but not the original. This was a modified version with obvious signs of tampering. Is that? Nina leaned closer. Proof of forgery, I confirmed. Look at the signature date. Grandma was in the hospital that day, heavily sedated. She couldn't have signed anything. Holy shit, Lyle whispered. That's not all. I zoomed in on the witness signatures. See who validated this version? Rachel and Marcus, the same friends Lexi just bribed for statements against me. They're not just trying to institutionalize you, Nina realized. They're covering up fraud. Exactly. I started typing a message to Faith, and they just gave us everything we need to prove it. My regular phone buzzed one more time. Lexi. Last chance, sis. Back down now or I'll make sure you never work in this city again. I showed the message to Nina and Lyle. She still thinks she's winning. Is she? Lyle asked quietly. I thought of Grandma's letter, of all the nights I'd spent documenting their schemes while they thought I was falling apart. No, I said. She just doesn't know she's already lost. Faith's office was exactly what you'd expect from a high-powered attorney, all leather and mahogany, with a view of downtown. She spread documents across her desk while I sat across from her, Nina beside me taking notes. Your grandmother knew this would happen, Faith said, tapping a sealed envelope. She made me promise not to open this unless they tried to contest the will. And? I leaned forward. And your sister just filed papers claiming the original will was destroyed. Convenient since she submitted this clearly altered version. Faith held up the forged document. Time to open the envelope. She sliced it carefully. Inside was a USB drive and a handwritten letter. Faith read it aloud. If you're reading this, my family has shown their true colors. The USB contains videos of me stating my final wishes, recorded weekly for the last 6 months of my life. Each video is time-stamped and witnessed by my doctor. I also recorded every conversation where they tried to pressure me into changing my will. Nina grabbed my arm. She was gathering evidence too. Faith nodded. Like grandmother, like granddaughter. She plugged in the USB. But that's not all. The screen filled with legal documents, a secret trust established years ago. Your grandmother created this trust with very specific conditions, Faith explained. If any family member attempts to contest the will through fraudulent means, everything transfers immediately to this trust. And guess who controls it? Me, I whispered. You, but only if we can prove the fraud in court. My phone buzzed. Dr. Allen requesting an urgent meeting. I have to go, I told Faith. How long until you can file these documents? Give me 48 hours to prepare everything properly. And Cynthia? She fixed me with a stern look. Be careful. They're going to get desperate. Dr. Allen was pacing when I arrived at his office. They tried to bribe me, he said without preamble. What? Your father called. Offered to make it worth my while if I'd modify my evaluation. He handed me a recording device. I got it all. I played it back. Dad's voice was smooth practice. Name your price, doctor. Whatever you want. Just say she's unstable enough to need supervision. Dr. Allen's reply was cold. I don't alter medical evaluations, ever. Everyone has a price. Get out of my office. I stopped the recording, hands shaking. They're really trying everything, not just trying. Dr. Allen pulled up his email. Your sister just filed a complaint against my medical license. Claims I have a personal relationship with you that clouds my judgment. That's insane. We'd never met before this case. Exactly. I have documentation of that, but it shows how far they'll go. My phone buzzed again. Nina sending an alert. Someone was trying to access my bank accounts. I have to go, I told Dr. Allen. Will you testify about the bribe attempt? Absolutely. They want to play dirty? Let's show them dirty. Back home, Nina had traced the bank access attempt. It came from your father's office IP address. Can you prove that? Already documented, but Cynthia... She hesitated. There's something else. Look what just got posted online. She pulled up social media, photos of me, clearly doctored, making me look disheveled and erratic. The captions were worse. Concerned about local art teacher's mental state. Students' parents worry about unstable instructor. Lexi, I growled. She's trying to destroy my reputation before the hearing? It gets worse. Nina scrolled down. They're calling your former students' parents, suggesting you might be dangerous. I should have felt angry. Instead, a strange calm settled over me. They really think they can break me? Aren't you worried? No. I pulled out my phone, dialed Faith, because they just crossed the last line. Faith answered immediately. I was about to call you. I found something in the trust documents. Tell me. Your grandmother added a clause. If they attempt character assassination through public means, the trust activates immediately. No court approval needed. I thought of the doctored photos, the calls to parents, the fake witness statements. Send me everything, I said. It's time. For what? To show them what real character assassination looks like. I looked at Nina. Release everything. The recordings, the bribe attempts, the forged documents, all of it. Are you sure? Nina asked. This will destroy them. I thought of Grandma's words. They'll come for what isn't theirs. Yes, I said, because they're not just coming for the money anymore. They're trying to take my whole life, and I'm done playing defense. Faith's voice was grim through the phone. I'll file everything in the morning. God help them. No, I said quietly. God help anyone who ever thought I was the weak one. The courthouse hallway felt like a gladiator arena. My family huddled on one side with their lawyers shooting me confident smirks. I sat alone on the other side, Faith deliberately running late as planned. Mom approached, wearing her best concerned parent expression. Sweetie, there's still time. Drop this nonsense and come home with us. I didn't respond, just pressed record on my phone. Think about what you're doing to the family, she continued, to your sister's career. Is that what you want? The courtroom doors opened. Lexi strode in wearing an expensive suit, followed by a parade of their witnesses. Rachel, Marcus, Amanda, all avoiding my eyes. All rise, the bailiff called. Judge Martinez studied both parties as we settled in. Unusual case we have here, she said. Family seeking emergency guardianship over an adult daughter. Counsel, proceed. Lexi stepped forward, all polished confidence. Your Honor, we're here out of deep concern for my sister's mental stability. We have multiple witnesses who will testify to increasingly erratic behavior, paranoid delusions, and potential danger to herself and others. She gestured to their witnesses. One by one, they recited their practice statements. Rachel described my paranoid episodes. Marcus detailed concerning outbursts. Amanda claimed I'd threatened her. I sat silently watching Judge Martinez's face. She betrayed nothing. Dad testified next, his voice breaking with fake emotion. We just want to help our daughter. She needs professional care, supervision. The inheritance from her grandmother has only made her more unstable. And you're willing to assume control of these assets? The judge asked, only to protect her from herself. Mom's testimony was a masterclass in manipulation. She cried on cue, describing her sleepless nights worrying about me, how I'd changed after Grandma died. Lexi wrapped up their case with medical records, carefully selected therapy sessions from college, anxiety medications I'd taken years ago. As you can see, Your Honor, she concluded, this pattern of instability requires immediate intervention. The judge turned to me. Miss Cynthia, do you have representation? The courtroom doors opened. Faith walked in, followed by Dr. Allen, David, and Lyle. We do, Your Honor, Faith said, and we have evidence of conspiracy, fraud, and witness tampering. Lexi's smile faltered. Proceed, the judge said. Faith played the recordings. Dad bribing Dr. Allen, Lexi threatening witnesses, Mom coaching false testimony. With each recording, their witnesses squirmed more visibly. Furthermore, Faith continued, we have evidence they attempted to forge the deceased's will while she was medically incapacitated. She played Grandma's videos. The courtroom fell silent as my grandmother's face appeared on screen, lucid and angry, detailing every attempt they'd made to change her will. The petitioners aren't concerned about their daughter's mental health, Faith said. They're attempting to seize control of assets that were deliberately kept from them. David testified about the suspicious financial movements. Dr. Allen presented his evaluation, destroying their claims of instability. Lyle described Lexi's bribery attempts. Then Rachel stood up suddenly. I need to change my testimony. Sit down, Lexi hissed. No. Rachel faced the judge. They promised to help with my gallery's zoning issues. Everything I said about Cynthia was a lie. Marcus stood next. Me too. They threatened my teaching position if I didn't cooperate. The judge's expression hardened. Ms. Lexi approached the bench. Lexi walked forward, her confidence cracking. I'm seeing evidence of serious ethical violations, the judge said. Possible criminal conduct. Would you like to withdraw your petition? Your Honor, Lexi started, but Faith interrupted. One more thing. She produced the trust documents. The deceased anticipated this attempt. By their own actions, the petitioners have activated clauses that transfer all assets to a protected trust, with Cynthia as sole trustee. I finally looked at my family. Dad's face was purple with rage. Mom had stopped crying, her mask cracking. Lexi looked like she'd been slapped. Petition denied, Judge Martinez declared, and I'm referring this matter to the State Bar Association and District Attorney's Office for investigation. You ungrateful little... Dad started toward me, but bailiff stepped between us. That's enough, the judge snapped. Clear the courtroom. As they were led out, Lexi turned back. The look in her eyes wasn't anger anymore. It was fear. Faith gathered our documents. Ready to go? I nodded, standing on shaky legs. We'd won the battle, but the war wasn't over. They'll retaliate, Nina whispered as we left. Let them try, Faith said. Everything they do now just proves we were right. I walked out of the courthouse into bright sunlight, feeling lighter than I had in months. They tried to paint me as crazy, unstable, weak. Instead, they'd only proved one thing. I was stronger than all of them combined. The aftermath hit like a tsunami. Within hours of Faith filing our evidence with the district attorney, my phone exploded with notifications. Local news had picked up the story. Prominent attorney accused of witness tampering. Business leader under investigation for inheritance fraud. Nina monitored the fallout from her laptop. Your sister's law firm just put her on administrative leave pending investigation. The Bar Association moved fast, Faith commented, pouring coffee in her office. They've already scheduled an emergency ethics hearing. My burner phone buzzed, David sending updates. Board called an emergency session. Your father's being voted out as CEO. Too much liability. Then came the desperate messages. Mom, how could you do this to us? We're your family. Dad, you've destroyed everything we built. I hope you're happy. Lexi, my entire career's ruined. I'll never forgive you for this. I forwarded each message to Faith without responding. Smart, she said. Let them dig themselves deeper. The office door opened. Dr. Allen rushed in, looking concerned. Have you seen the news? Your father just gave an interview. He pulled up the video. Dad stood outside his office building, playing the victim perfectly. My daughter is deeply troubled, he said to the cameras. We only wanted to help her. Now she's destroying our family out of spite and paranoid delusions. Faith scoffed. Still trying that angle? After everything we proved in court? Wait, Nina said. Look at the comments. People weren't buying it. The video was flooded with responses. Notice how he's more worried about his reputation than his daughter? Classic gaslighting from an abuser. Where was this caring father when his mother-in-law was dying? My phone rang. Lyle. You need to see this, he said. I'm sending security footage from your father's office building. The video showed Dad and Lexi having a heated argument in the parking garage. This is your fault, Dad shouted. You promised you could handle this quietly. Me? You're the one who got sloppy with the bribes and Mom's pathetic performance in court. Don't you dare blame me. I told you the girl was smarter than you thought. The girl? Lexi laughed bitterly. She played us all like a fiddle. While we were busy trying to make her look crazy, she was building an airtight case. We can still fix this. Find something to discredit her. It's over, Dad. The Bar Association has everything. The DA is looking at criminal charges. We're done. Faith was already on the phone with the DA's office. Add witness intimidation to the charges. They're still trying to discredit her. My regular phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Please call off the investigation. Your father's having chest pains from stress. More manipulation, Nina muttered. But 10 minutes later, David called. Your father really did collapse. They took him to the hospital. Heart attack? I asked. Panic attack. The board voted unanimously to remove him. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, just emptiness. The office door opened again. Rachel walked in, looking nervous. I gave a full statement to the DA, she said, about the bribes, the threats, everything. Others are coming forward, too. Thank you, I said quietly. I'm so sorry, Cynthia. I should have stood up to them sooner. Faith's phone rang. She listened briefly, then smiled. The DA's filing criminal charges. Conspiracy, fraud, witness tampering. They're being arrested tomorrow morning. Nina hugged me. It's really over. Not quite, I said, pulling out Grandma's letter. There's one more thing she wanted me to do. I opened my email, sent a message to every board member, investor, and business contact in my father's network. Attached were videos of every backroom deal, every shady transaction, every ethical violation they'd committed over the years. Your grandmother documented everything, David said, amazed. All those business meetings she hosted. She was gathering evidence. She knew they'd come for me, I said. She made sure I had what I needed to fight back. My phone buzzed one final time. Lexi, they're suspending my law license. Dad's in the hospital. Mom's having a breakdown. Are you happy now? I thought about responding, about explaining that this wasn't about happiness or revenge. It was about truth, about consequences, about standing up to people who thought they could break you. Instead, I turned off my phone. What now? Nina asked. I looked at Grandma's letter, at her final words. Show them what real strength looks like. Now, I said, we let justice do its work. The sun was setting outside Faith's office window, painting the sky in shades of victory. The key felt heavy in my hand as I unlocked the Grandma's house. My house now. Afternoon sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Everything was exactly as she'd left it. My phone buzzed with news alerts. Dad pleading guilty to reduced charges, accepting a deal. Lexi surrendering her law license rather than face disbarment. Mom checking into a wellness center after her public meltdown. Nina helped me carry in boxes. You sure you want to live here? It's where I belong. I ran my hand along the familiar wallpaper. Besides, the art studio is perfect for teaching. Speaking of which, she handed me a stack of letters. Parents from my old school asking if I'd consider private lessons for their kids now that the truth was out. The doorbell rang. David stood on the porch with Faith. The board signed everything over, he said, handing me documents. The company, the assets, everything, it's done. What will you do with it all? Faith asked. I led them to Grandma's study, my study now. On the wall hung the last painting Grandma and I had done together, a sunset over the garden she loved. I'm converting the company into a charitable foundation, I said, supporting arts education, elder care, mental health advocacy, everything they tried to destroy. They'll hate that, Nina smiled. They don't get a vote anymore. My phone buzzed again. Lyle, Rachel's gallery opening is tonight. Everyone's asking if you'll come. I looked at the others. Want to go? The gallery was packed. Rachel hugged me tight when we arrived. Thank you, she whispered, for forgiving me. Thank you for telling the truth. I wandered through the exhibits, stopping at a familiar painting, one I'd done during those long nights at Grandma's bedside. Rachel had given it the central wall. It's beautiful, said a voice behind me. I turned to see Mrs. Peterson, our former neighbor. I'm so sorry, she said, for almost letting them manipulate me. You stood up to them in the end. That's what matters. More people arrived. Marcus, Amanda, others who'd initially taken my family's side, but later exposed their lies. Each carried their own guilt, their own apologies. You've built quite a support system, Faith observed. No, I corrected. We built it together. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You think you've won, but families don't just disappear? Lexi using a burner phone now. I showed Faith, who frowned. Want me to handle it? No need. I blocked the number. They're not my family anymore. These people are. Nina clinked her glass against mine. To chosen family. To truth, David added. To karma? Faith smiled. I looked around the gallery at Rachel proudly showing her work, at Marcus discussing art with his students, at Nina arguing aesthetics with Lyle, at all these people who'd chosen truth over lies, courage over comfort. To Grandma, I said quietly. Later that night, I sat in her garden, my garden now. The roses she'd planted were blooming, their scent filling the air. I pulled out her final letter, read it one last time. My dearest Cynthia, remember this, strength isn't in what we take, but in what we build. They tried to tear you down, but you built something stronger. Integrity, truth, real connections. That's your real inheritance. Not the money, not the house, not the company. Your inheritance is the power to choose who you become when faced with darkness. You chose light. I'm so proud of you. Love always, Grandma. Nina found me there, handed me a cup of tea. You okay? Better than okay. I folded the letter carefully. I'm free. No regrets about how public it all became? I thought about my family's texts, their desperate attempts to maintain control, thought about all the people they'd hurt, all the lies they'd told. They chose their path, I said. I just made sure they had to walk it in the light. The garden was peaceful in the gathering dusk. Somewhere my family was facing the consequences of their choices. But here, surrounded by Grandma's roses and true friends, I felt only peace. They tried to write my story, the unstable daughter, the family disappointment, the easy target. Instead, I'd written my own, the woman who stood up, the truth teller, the one who broke the cycle. That was the real victory, not the money or the justice or even the vindication. The victory was in becoming exactly who they feared I might be, strong enough to face them, brave enough to fight back, free enough to walk away, and finally, completely at peace with it all.